Stand by, folks.
Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this football night. I keep forgetting we always have Thursday night football. Not a huge fan of it. I like it on maybe the first week and maybe Thanksgiving. Other than that, I don't believe in it. But got a big show. Got a split show with you for tonight, okay? 30 minutes past the hour. I will have I have a recorded interview. You cannot miss this. This is the biggest game of the week with Jason Patterson, all right? He covers the Kansas City Chiefs. He's the contributor with Pig Trail Nation out of Fayetteville. He's covered their training camp and whatnot. This guy's really good. Stay tuned. 30 minutes. It'll come right on after this show. If you stay tuned to Sports Scope, as soon as I get done at 7:29, because it comes on at 7:30, you'll get to see that. He's breaking down this the Kansas City Chiefs so far and the Cincinnati Bengals. We talk about that game. It's a very big game for just week 2 in the NFL, so stay tuned for that, folks, okay? Let's take our first and only break on when we come back. When we come back, going to talk about the Titans. I'm out of Nashville. I haven't got a chance to talk. I've had to get some artwork done on my car the last few days. All part of the sacrifice to advertise this program. But talk about that. Deion Sanders, is he done with coaching after this year? I'll tease that. Plus, the Jets, that Hassan Reddick deal's really hurt them. Stand by. Let's take our first and only break. I'll be back here shortly. We'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
All righty then, let me get squared away here because I got a lot to cover in about 25 minutes, folks. Again, for those of you who just joined, we'll have an interview with a Jets or Kansas City Chiefs reporter there, Jason Patterson. Will be right as soon as I get done at 7:29, 8:29 Eastern. That second half is going to come right up. I've got it set up to go that way, so stay tuned. Okay? All righty then. All right, now, did not get a chance to talk about Titans. A lot of people wanted my opinion of that. We will break this game down against the Jets. with the Mad New Yorker tomorrow. Make sure and change. And of course, if he don't show, I'll give you a breakdown. Okay. The Titans have the best defense in the league as far as this week is concerned. They're number one at least yards. Least yards allowed. Now, of course, it's Caleb Williams, rookie quarterback. But listen, DJ Moore's on that team. All right, Cole Kmet. All right, Keenan Allen, star young receiver Rome Odunze. Good, much well above average offensive line. All right, and I went back and looked at the box score here. Will Levis had a worse game than I thought. He had 2 interceptions, 1 fumble loss. That's 3 turnovers by one guy. 3 turnovers by Will Levis. Okay. And you want to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. He's got a much better offensive line. As far as last week, Tennessee, Pro Football Focus moved their offensive line up to like 13th in the league. They went up like 10 spots or something like that. Now, they have a bad matchup this week according to PFF. But I'll get into the Jets here in a minute. They have their own problems. But he does not have pocket awareness. He cannot feel, like Pickles says, he can't feel that pass rush. He can't feel it when it's coming at him what feels like 2 miles an hour. I was watching some old footage of Steve McNair, former Tennessee Titans, in that Netflix documentary the other day that just came out about a few weeks back. And he could always feel it. It just seems so easy for a guy like McNair to just kind of slide back. This guy's a pretty good athlete in Will Levis. Why can't he feel that pocket collapsing? It's not like you got a speed rusher there that has caught the guard, air quote, off guard. Now, I know that things did change for Tennessee once. Who's it? Daniel Ruiz, the right guard, who went out. Things started changing. They started penetrating Tennessee. Now, this is a good defense. This Bears defense, again, they were the number 1 run defense coming into this season. Last year, that's what kept Eberflus's job there. They're very good at linebacker with Edmonds and whatnot. They've got one of the best cornerbacks in the league in Jalen Johnson, and he showed it last week. Okay, but anyways, I'm looking here at his stat line, and the guy is let me make sure I got this right. I don't want to misquote. 58% completion. That's not good enough in this league. All right. He's still right at about the same thing he was. Now, this is one game, but he's 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 58%. And he's played, I didn't know he played 10 games last year. Well, technically, hold on. Yeah, 10 games between 9 games last year, 1 game so far this year. And it was, other than that, special teams, almost this whole thing was Will Levis's fault, if you ask me. I know some of the line didn't hold up in some cases, but he's got to be able to catch on to that. You've got a guard that's went out, and your backup is. That's what I said. What did I say in the preseason? I said that's going to be my biggest concern. I've had to talk about this with Rich Ferris. That's my biggest concern about the Titans is their lack of depth, because they just don't quite got that in the roster. You need another full draft. But Rand Carthon, his guy, he did draft Levis, okay? And the scouting report of the knock, I don't know, I guess you can add it to the scouting report, of why he dropped as far as he did when there was rumors he could have went as far as maybe his number 2 to where CJ, what a disaster that would have been. Where Stroud went to Houston, or maybe where Anthony Richardson, Richardson had, who went to the Colts, obviously. I think he went 4th. with much less experience than Levis because he wasn't as cocky. Levis is a very cocky guy. Levis reminds me, I was talking to some friends at work today all week. He reminds me of an actor playing a football player. He's worried about his muscles. He's worried about how much black eyeliner he has on, rather than being a better quarterback. He kind of reminds me of Keanu Reeves out of The Replacements. Chad sent offense line lost last week. Now, they ran the ball over 107 yards. They ran the ball well against the number one rush defense in the league last week, Chad. The number one rush that they had over 100 yards rushing. I'll get you the exact stat line here in just a second. They ran 141 yards rushing. 36 did come from Levis. If you want to take his 36 out to be, because that's just how I criticize the Bills. By the way, I like the Bills tonight. They're plus 2. The Bills are underdogs tonight, by the way. But anyways, I digress. I'm on a short show because I got a really good interview I want you all to watch 30 minutes past the hour that it's recorded. So anyways, so Titans, 82 yards touchdown for Tony Pollard. Tajay Spears, 21 yards. They did get a yard out of Treylon Burks. 110 yards, not counting Will Levis's rush against the number one rush defense in the league last year. That is really, really impressive. You have a rookie left tackle there, and you have a second-year left guard. This is what I predicted. And then, of course, Cassenberry, a top 10 Pro Football Focus center there. They blocked really well. Pro Football Focus said Tennessee did a very good job until Ruiz, the right guard, went out. Even for Petit Farid had a great day. But when Ruiz went out, that right guard kind of reminds me of that Hulk Hogan commercial, right guard sports stick. If you don't have your right guard sports stick, anything less would be uncivilized. Well, that's when things start. But Levis, it's his awareness. And I say all that. I say they got the Jets Sunday. The Jets flew to San Francisco, played late into Monday night, lost, got the ball moved on them, and I don't see any end in sight with Hassan Reddick. That hurt them. Then they had to fly all the way back to East Rutherford, New Jersey. Then they got to come here in Nashville on Sunday, which I'm already seeing Jets jerseys around. I saw them around town today. On Sunday and play a noon Central Time game. That is terrible scheduling. I've talked about this. I thought in the preseason this would be a perfect setup for Tennessee to win. Yes, under normal circumstances, look how good the 49ers played against how well they ran. The Titans' run game is very similar. That step back, you got that gap scheme type of run, zone blocking scheme that the Titans have, the 49ers scored 8 straight offensive possessions before they knelt down on the final drive. They ran 70 plays to the Jets, 49 plays. They wore them out. Tennessee could do that too. Yeah, they were last in PFF coming into the season. That's the PFF. I got the PFF ratings right here. I'll subscribe to it. They were last coming in. That's been back and forth. They were like 13th last week against one of the better defensive lines in the league, Montez Sweat. The Bears are a very good team. They just have a young quarterback. They got to get poised. But the 49ers against the Jets, 8 straight possessions with Trent Williams, who missed most of camp, no Christian McCaffrey, a complete scratch, and Brandon Ayuk missed most of camp and totally shut down, and they still moved the ball 8 straight possessions. Okay? Tennessee can move the ball Tennessee can move the ball up and down the field. I'm impressed with the offensive line, Chad. My point is they are doing well. Tennessee can do as well, maybe not as 49ers, but they can move the ball on the Jets. Robert Saleh's in trouble. He's in trouble. As I predicted, there's a very good chance that him and Joe Douglas, who totally bought that extra pass rusher that they have lost. They lost the pass rusher in free agency, and they traded for Hassan Reddick. Reddick has never showed up there. He's never set foot on that property. And he lost $730,000 game check on Monday. And, of course, they lost the game. I say all that to say this. If Levis on Sunday, if he turns the ball over twice before halftime, that would be 5 turnovers in 2 games. I would bench him for, I might not totally yank him for the season, but I would bench him for this game coming up on Sunday for Mason Rudolph because he's more competent. There's just no excuse for this kind of play out of him. Yeah, he made a good throw to, who was it? Pacheco or not Pacheco, Okonkwo. Is that the tight end? He made a good throw to him. But this guy is scared back there. For some reason, he's seeing ghosts. I don't know what his problem is, but I will say this. After Sunday, I'm not saying this. If I'm Ran Carthon, I'm not having this conversation with Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan knows. I like Brian Callahan's schemes. I really like his schemes. I like their running game. It reminds me of the 49ers. That's what I wanted. I like the dads coaching on the offensive line. That's really good. They should not have blown that 17-point lead. That was the disgrace. Okay. But that being said, if I'm Ran Carthon, I'm telling my scouts, judging by his maturity issues, talking about Will Levis, coming into this game, look at how good this team has a lot of potential, especially on the defensive side. I think they've got a real winner here in Denard Wilson. He may be a Brian Flores level of defensive coordinator who had a ball, who coached his rear end off Sunday when they destroyed the Giants in their own backyard. I digress. But I'm telling my scouts, if I'm Ran Carthon, go down there and take a look at this Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart. Jackson with an X out of Ole Miss. He's played under Lane Kiffin. He's drawn the highest season grade for quarterbacks through 2 weeks. This is according to Pro Football Focus's college, 92.3. And I think you got to look at this guy. You know, I think his stock. He was listed as a preseason possible top 10 prospect. Now he's looking. Now we're early. I know. I get it. We're early at a possible first round grade. Of what I've reading at this morning, you've got to look at this guy. You've always got to be thinking forward as a general manager and as an owner. You've got to have his back and say, listen, this is what the Eagles do. When they see a problem, they move on quickly. They don't sit around and wait on a mistake. All right. I have as much as faith as of today. That can change. That can change, Chad. That can change, Pickles, okay? I didn't have any faith in Jordan Love this time last year. But right around Thanksgiving, the light bulb went off for Jordan Love, and now they virtually look unstoppable at times up there in Green Bay. Now, of course, he's hurt, but a lot of that's had to do with that crappy field down in Brazil, okay? So keep that in mind. I would bench him if he throws if he turns the ball over twice before halftime, I'm benching him because I think that defense can keep Tennessee in the game. There's just no excuse for some of the idiotic throws and sacks that he's taken so far. If he looked that bad, I blame Brian Callahan for not playing him in that second preseason game. You know? Pickle says Callahan, we could have punted on 1st and 10. Hey, listen, you might have. And Kiffin's really coached this guy up. Keep an eye out for him. Now, I'm not the best at these quarterbacks. Don't get me wrong. I thought the guy that went to Notre Dame last year was going to be good. But I'm just saying. If I sound like I'm talking at a rapid pace because I'm in a hurry, it's because I am talking at a rapid pace because I am in a hurry. Because I want y'all to stay tuned for my interview with Jason Patterson coming up 30 minutes into this. So we got about 8 minutes. Okay, another big topic. Big topic I wanted to talk about. Going to the college game, Deion Sanders. I don't know. Yes, they got beat by Nebraska. They got beat by Nebraska last week. And they got, and by the way, we will talk about that Notre Dame loss with the Mad New Yorker. They got beat by Nebraska last week, and it's been reported this past week, even before this came about. I read about this last week. I couldn't believe it. But Deion Sanders is saying, it was reported, I want to make sure I got this. This was multiple outlets. It's not just that he wanted. This was from the local radio station. 104.3 The Fan reported that Deion Sanders had asked the school's band not to play the fight song at Folsom Field after Schroeder Sanders scores a touchdown, so his son's theme music could run, which is some rap song, you know? Deion says, what did he say? Whoever reported that, I told the band not to play that fight song's idiotic. Y'all know that. Sanders stated he emphasized the importance of verifying facts before dismantling false narratives, noting that such misinformation can be effective not only for himself, but the band members and the alumni. I've heard that from multiple outlets about that. Okay. We've already know about the issue with his son on Instagram last year. Supposedly, during halftime, when they got come back on and beat by Stanford at halftime, all right, and bringing in the DJ before the game, not after, before the game. Boulder's making during interviews. Pretty funny. And even Shannon Sharp, who's in the news for the wrong reasons, if any of you know, but he does make a good point. Shannon's got one of the hottest podcasts out there. Listen to what Shannon Sharp said. Listen to what he said about Deion Sanders the other day. And this guy's pretty fair. He's Mr. Apologetic Deion Sanders guy, talking about the problems that they've had stopping a run, penalties. I mentioned that before the season start. So I'm just not so sure about this Florida thing. He might drop out, but listen to what Shannon Sharp said about Deion. This was on Monday.
You see how you speak bad about the black coaches? No, you see how I speak true. Now I see why politicians get elected, because people like being lied to. When I tell you the truth that Colorado can't run the football, just like they couldn't run it last year. They couldn't stop the run, just like they couldn't stop it last year. They couldn't protect Shedeur, just like they couldn't last year. He's holding on to the ball too long, just like he did last year. Oh, how did you not look at that first game and see a lot of what happened last year? How could you see it had not reared its?
That was against North Dakota State, a very well-coached team, but Shannon makes a good point. More from Shannon Sharp.
And I'm not saying that North Dakota State, that's a football team, and we're going to talk about Notre Dame, how they lost to Northern Illinois. and we see Alabama was in a nip-tuck ball game late in the fourth quarter and then blow it open. So I'm not saying that. But when you look at an FCS team and they're having success running the football, they're having success putting pressure on your quarterback, what happens when you step up in level of competition? When you go and you face teams in the Big 12, what do you think they're going to do? Because they got legit deep.
Yeah. Can't run the ball, can't stop the run. Pickles, I mean, that's football one-on-one, ain't it? Wants to hear rap. Pickles said nobody voter wants to hear. Now, I don't know. Some of these college kids, we like the rap music, but you can't tell them to change the thing. You know, and like Paul Feinbaum said, not just Paul Feinbaum. Let me repeat that again. Not just Paul Feinbaum. This was all over the internet over the past 10 days. Deion Sanders is turning into LeVar Ball. He's got he had a breakup with his long time girlfriend. It might have been a wife. I don't know. Just before he left Jackson State to take this Colorado, she said he's too involved with his son's life. You know, his son Shiloh's playing safety. Schroeder's playing quarterback. Schroeder, the first couple games, could stay in the pocket, was getting rid of the ball, was making the right reads. As the season went along, he was staying in the pocket too long and taking a lot of unnecessary sacks. And it seems like there's been the pressure's mounting there. But it's turning into, and I know they're losing some transfers like nobody's business, that it's just him being the LeVar Ball. Remember the father Alonzo, the Ball brothers, making everything about him, living vicariously through them. You know, I guess I'm saying all this that I don't. There's a good chance he just calls it a career after both of the sons leave. I almost guarantee you he's not going to be at Colorado next year. If I'm Colorado, I'm looking around for another coach. You know, do I call Jimbo Fisher, who's out of a job? Maybe. I don't know. He's a pretty good recruiter. Because I don't think Deion's going to be back there. I don't think they're going to fire him. He's got a lot of attention, but at some point you got to win games, man. You've got to win the game. Pickle says, "Well, yeah, you've got to." That's like the first rule of thumb. Now the problem with guys, Pickle says, "Run the ball, stop the run." That was Jeff Fisher's motto. Unfortunately, that was his only motto. You still have to set up play action pass and all that stuff, and you can't play prevent, and you got to prevent the pass at the end of the games and not play close. But that's the start. Run the ball, stop the run. That's why I think a team like the Titans have a lot to build off of. They got a lot of talent out there. But going back to Colorado, I mean, Deion, he was looking like a star there for about a month, folks. He was looking like a star there for about a month last year, and we're still kind of trying to buy into it. And right now, my prediction is he's not going to be at Colorado. Not sure if he's going to retire. Not sure if he's going to get it back together and go on a run and end up beating getting that maybe Florida job. Okay, folks, stand by. I got the second half of the program coming on. I want to thank everybody for watching. Stand by. I've got an interview, Linda. I've got an interview coming up with an insider from the Kansas City Chiefs. So you got another show coming on here in just a few seconds.